Hi, my name is Serena Johnson and I'm a painter from South Philadelphia. So I'm going to talk about this piece and the process that goes into the making. So to begin with, I start out with a collage and I'm pulling from a bunch of different sources. So all of these faces are from a book that I'm using, and it's like a really weird book about sick children. And I'm personifying these children and making kind of like a larger narrative and bouncing from them. And I'm trying to activate the space with visual elements like color and pattern so that my viewer's eye is traveling around the canvas. A large part of my process is pulling from a million different places and creating an archive of imagery in which, when I'm making a composition, I look through that archive and I find things that emotionally seem accurate to what I'm trying to convey. So I found this sick baby book and I started painting these like sick babies, and they, like, not only were there babies in the book, that there were like little children, so all three of these girls are also coming from that book. And so the archive is just really important when it comes to image making. And so like I have a whole folder of cakes, and that came into play with the cakes. And then not only am I creating archives, but I'm creating collages in my archives that go into my paintings, and they're just like little homages to collage. Okay, so another really important part of my process is drawing. So when I'm thinking about my archive, the next step from the archive is the drawing. So this is happening before this is happening. And so I'm doing these drawings and I'm being very loose and gestural, and then I'm translating that into paint. But it's super important that I do this first. Yeah. Okay, so this painting here is the third painting in the series, and again, like the rest of the paintings, I'm pulling from a bunch of different sources. For example, this painting within the painting is my great-grandmother's painting of my grandma and my dad. And so this whole painting is an autobiographical narrative, so it's about me and my family. But also I wanted it to be not entirely sentimental, so I wanted it to be a more broad social commentary on not only myself, but maybe America or just a normal family. As you can tell, this isn't really a normal family. There's stuff going on. There might be some dark things going on. This man is holding an 8-ball. There's some cocaine here and some pie. So it's about temptation and dying and loss and memory. So it's a psychological space, it's not entirely real. Okay, so this painting here is called Squirrel Dinner, and it's about a moment in my childhood when I was traumatized because my mom was dating a man who always hunted squirrels. And I would look in the fridge for dinner and all there would be a Tupperware full of a fully furred squirrel. And then I'd look in the freezer and just Tupperware full of squirrel soup. So during that time, my mom also had a fish tank that she loved to look into. And so this was kind of a memory of those two things that freaked me out juxtaposed tightly together. I think it really captures the weirdness of that time. Okay, so in this painting, I'm thinking a lot about creating a visual language and then breaking it. Here I am, to the left, you can kind of see the painting unraveling. And so I'm hoping here I've established this shape is a beer can. So over here, I can just make this abstract shape and the viewer might make that connection. This is also a beer can. So I'm playing with what is representation? Does representation need to be entirely realist for the viewer to understand what an object is? So this man obviously in real life doesn't have skinny little toothpick arms, but in this painting it's best for him to have them so that we can all see that, you know, this man is looking under the weather. And then I'm just playing, so I'm putting in funny things like pizza. Happened while I was painting this, I was really hungry, so I was thinking about hoagies, pizza. People think this guy's meatballs, but it's actually a portrait. Okay, so something that's happening in a few of the pieces that I found super fun was when I was finished the painting, I would put my hand like this, and then kind of like what we did in kindergarten, I would just trace around my hand, and that was my way of not only inserting myself into the painting literally, but also signing the painting. Okay, so in this painting, I am introducing kind of like real lowbrow elements such as the dino bites here that you can find at your local bodega. I'm really enjoying like the off-brand kind of like sentiment, just saying like, no, this family isn't having Fruity Pebbles, they're having dino bites. Probably because they can't afford Fruity Pebbles, which is just interesting, I think. And so also in this painting, I'm getting into like being really loose with my painting and gestural. So like this guy's hand is just like a quick swift of the brush. There that hand is. I'm also bringing in a little bit of history. So these are like my great-grandmother's plates, and I'm talking about time, like this fish tank has a fluorescent light bulb, which has to be contemporary because fluorescent light bulbs haven't been around forever. So it's like important to me that people can place this image in a time and that hopefully they think it's contemporary. I'm really interested in making these images kind of like a smorgasbord of history. So here I'm using like Middle Eastern mandalas, and I'm using this to not only slow myself down in my creative process, but to slow my viewers down. So while their eyeballs and brains are going wild over all this color and stimulus happening, that hopefully they can look here and just slow down. Okay, so this is like one of my most positive paintings because it's of my best friend Bridge, and she's like the love of my life. So this painting is all about the fun times we had together. So it's like every object in here is a memory that we shared. And so like in Arizona, we stayed at these really weird people's houses that crucified Barbie dolls. And that just like stuck with me hardcore. They had little Krishna baby dolls, and that was like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. So I knew I had to paint that. It's a good one. Okay, so one day I was driving down the road in West Philly, and I'm like riding by this park, and I see this woman laying on a chaise lounge, hot pink, looking fly as hell, smoking a blunt. I'm like, stop the car, stop the car! So we stop the car, and I get out, and I'm like, you are so fabulous, and I'm a portrait painter, so can I please paint your portrait? And she was like, yeah, girl, like, of course you can. And so I take her picture, and this is Strawberry. I painted her twice now, and she's just like a really great presence in the house. Strawberry, if you're watching this, please contact me because I've been searching for you for a long time.